Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to this bright new Monday. Yes, the Monday, the 14th of August, 2023, and it is 18 degrees, sunny and glorious day right here in Brisbane. Hey, go the Matildas, well done. Congratulations, and it is just such a wonderful feeling. Well, right now, today we have a very short segment of some of the main news updates. First of all, let's go to Opera House, where it's celebrating its 50th birthday. Happy birthday.
It's instantly recognisable the world over. A landmark that has been snapped and shared 1 billion times.
There's no other building like this in the world.
It said thanks, no thanks, and sorry. It's turned blue and yellow for Ukraine, green and gold for the Matildas, and every colour of the rainbow. It's rolled out the bunting for royalty.
Are you ready?
And been the life and soul of every party.
Sydney's great civic cathedral.
From opera to Oprah, from highbrow to high emotion, the house has played host to some of our most memorable occasions. Jon Utsen's now world-famous design was chosen almost by accident, plucked from the reject pile by one of the judges.
He saw what was in the near final pile and said, these are all terribly boring, fished into the discard pile, and there he found Utsen's drawing and said, this is your opera house.
You had to create something like a sculpture which could be seen from all sides.
Sydney could easily have ended up with this, or even this. The chosen location had been used for song, dance and ceremony for thousands of years.
This site is hugely significant to Indigenous people, and that's not lost on us.
On this historic thrust of rock is rising a new sort of building, a concept for a home of culture.
Work got underway in earnest in 1959. It was a bold statement about the values of the emerging nation.
We're in the post-war period. We're really starting to re-examine our national identity and what's our place going to be on the international stage.
Above these tiers will soar the largest arc of the shell roof.
Construction took 14 years and ran 7 times over budget. The cost overruns led to tensions. Utsen famously walked out halfway through.
The consequence of that was that we didn't ever have the opera house that Utsen envisaged.
After all the trials and tribulations of these past 19 years...
Finally, the day some had begun to fear would never arrive.
I have much pleasure in declaring the Sydney Opera House open.
The only person missing was Utsen.
One of the great myths of the Opera House is that Utsen had been ignored at the opening.
While researching the history, he unearthed a letter from Utsen politely declining an invitation to attend.
Was it just a great joy to come across this and to really dispel this rumour that's been so persistent for decades?
Over the years, it's been a stage for freedom fighters and freedom lovers, for princes and popes.
Find a love.
For singer Kamal, his first concert would set the tone for his career.
I wanted to do something that was a bit different. So I came up with the idea of a caftan, a gold caftan with no shoes on my feet. So I became the Caftan Kid.
The government of the day declared this building would be the People's House. The doors would be open to every citizen, regardless of class or wealth. A vision that the current custodians say still resonates today.
I feel as if that things have sort of come full circle. We entered a period of elitism and privilege. We appear to be coming out of that period.
The acoustic problems that plagued the concert hall have finally been fixed. The dreaded donuts have been replaced by petals. The auditorium adapted to suit rock as well as Rachmaninoff, hip-hop as well as Haydn.
How you guys feeling?
Every time I've seen a band or an artist play at the Opera House that isn't part of an opera company or classical music, there's a moment where they come on stage and kind of look around and just sort of stop and say, this is really incredible.
A building ahead of its time and seemingly defying the ageing process.
The only challenge is for us who inhabit it to keep producing operas, plays, dance and music that is worthy of this very, very special place.
Wow, what a documentary and an amazing place. Isn't it interesting that the design that was in the discarded box finally got chosen? I can relate to that. I can really relate to that. Many times there are, even applications and things like that where people look at just the normal, and if it does not fit all the box, they chuck it out. But therein lies some of those things. So there we go. Well, right now let's come to Queensland, where residents are a bit worried and concerned about the coastal population growth.
Kelly Nason has lived on the Sunshine Coast since she was 7. But the registered nurse can't afford to buy a home here, forcing her family into a tough decision.
I think we're approved for $370,000. We won't get anywhere on the Sunshine Coast, Caboolture, anywhere in southeast Queensland, so we're going to Mackay.
The new Southeast Queensland Regional Plan aims to address the affordable home shortfall. 240,000 more houses, units and high-rises will be built by 2041 across the Gold and Sunshine Coasts.
Not everyone wants to have a backyard and a clothesline, so how can we provide walkable cities, good public transport? People might go to a local co-working space so that they don't have to sit in a car for hours.
The southern Gold Coast is a development hotspot. Rainbow Bay local Maria Hobbs says high-density living and a lack of infrastructure is killing the coastal lifestyle.
It's just turned what was a really beautiful little suburb into a place of a lot of frustration and disappointment, and it needn't have been like this if it was better planned, better spaced out.
Deputy Premier Stephen Miles says the SEQ regional plan is crucial to meet growth. Otherwise, Queenslanders risk losing the things they love about their communities.
There are certain things that people love about the community, the way we are used to, and what is the Queenslander way? That is the way, and that is changing. But one of the points that was raised there, that if people think outside the square and they try and live close to where they work, that will save a lot of time, productivity-wise, time-wise as well. And see, the roads are chock-a-block morning and afternoon in the peak hours, just because people are coming from miles away to the city or from the city going otherwise. Some people living in the north side and working in the south side, things like that. So if you can save time sitting in traffic for hours and hours and use that time for more productive things, that might be a way to think. Right now, staying in Queensland, this just have a bit of a warning that this report might be shocking to some people. Youngsters as young as 10 are being locked away in Queensland.
I headed at probably like 11 or 12. That's when I got sent down to juvenile. Got put into a cell by myself, not with the mother boys. It just feel like that you're locked up in a cage. It's cold too, and you get more like when you want to feel like that you want to go on the outside. It's just make you feel no good, miss, like looking at four walls, and then that's when you think to yourself, I get to think, what the hell I'm getting locked up? What the hell I'm like got on you?
Queensland has the highest rates of children in youth detention. We can't reveal their names or show their faces, but throughout this report you'll hear from young people who have spent time in detention. Jackson says he was 10 years old when he was arrested for being in a stolen car.
When you're small, you know, miss, you got nothing to do and you just go follow the wrong boys. And the boys tell you to do that. Couple of big boys, cousin brothers, and nephews. Now I got into the house and found the door open, walked in and grabbed the key off the bench and went back outside, jumped in, started on, and just went. My big brothers was strapped in the car, and a couple of other boys was in the passenger seat. Well, I sat the driver and I sat two fellas in the passenger, and probably like 6 or 7 of us was at the back of the car. The next day when I got up from sleep, I found coppers right in front of my face, looking down at me, and just grabbed at me and then put it.
So there you go. As I mentioned, that the report might be overwhelming. So that is the way things are at the moment. So law enforcement, juvenile and young crime, youngsters, is that the right way to treat them? How do we get them out of that kind of situation? Well, ladies and gentlemen, right now it's time to look at some of the functions and events taking place. And don't forget, tomorrow we'll bring a very special interview with the Senator Nimpijip Price, Senator, who will be talking about the No campaign, and of course a report on the brand new Gopio chapter of Gopio Cairns that was inaugurated on Sunday. All that coming up tomorrow. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's about all we have time for you in this rather short segment today. We're resuming the full session from tomorrow, but it's always wonderful to have your company on the show, and I hope you had a beautiful weekend. Mine was very, very busy. We'll talk about all of that tomorrow and bring to you some reports every day, a little report on some of the functions that we saw in the weekend, which was just huge. Until tomorrow, it's goodbye from me.